Hey there, MJ traders and investors. It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Also home to the best MJ community. Today is Friday, April 12th. It's late, and I hope you're doing well. In this video, we're going to be discussing the B word, which continues to come up for no reason whatsoever. We're going to be discussing first, it was Canopy, and then now it's Tilray. And what I'm seeing is, and the only thing that I can really explain it as, is just a bunch of emotions running wild. There's no real rationale, any logical thinking behind it. It's just emotions getting the best of people. And for the record, I said this way back when, that Canopy was definitely not going to go bankrupt. And if they were, it wouldn't be anytime soon. And then now the herd, right, the retail investors are all switching from Canopy to Tilray. Now in all my videos in the comments, it's Tilray for bankruptcy. Tilray's going bankrupt. People are asking they're asking legit questions. Is Tilray going to go bankrupt? And then I've been seeing, on my live streams now that everybody's saying Canopy's the one to pick. So it's almost as if it's just the flavor of the week kind of thing, right? And it really is what the stock market is designed to do, is to make you jump ship when things are running hot. When something increases in price, people love it. When something is not doing anything or decreases in price or doesn't see as big of a percentage move, people don't like it. And then what is the natural thing for people to think? Oh, bankruptcy, right? It's just going to go to zero, right? There's no like, oh, what assets do they have? What kind of, what sort of intellectual property they have? What's their portfolio? None of that. It all goes out the window, right? And keep in mind, Canopy just did a reverse split. So a lot of this really doesn't even make any sense when you factor in the split. So I'm going to go over this topic. I'm going to give my thoughts and opinions on this. I do not think, I said before, that Canopy wasn't going to go bankrupt. If it was, it wouldn't be anytime soon. And then I'll be on record now to say that Tilray isn't going anywhere. So for anybody that's saying any of these two companies are going bankrupt, they either didn't do their research, they have no clue what they're talking about, or they just don't understand markets, or their IQ is like in the negative. I'm not trying to be mean or anything like that, condescending. I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying to say I know everything, because I don't. There's always a risk of these companies going bankrupt. There's always a risk of insolvency. We don't know for sure. The only guarantee is no guarantees. But hopefully by the end of this video, it really helps you make more data-driven decisions rather than emotions. But as always, it's not financial advice. This is my own thoughts and opinions. This is for entertainment and informational purposes only. Full disclosure, I do own Tilray and Canopy in my portfolio. And again, I'll never tell you to buy, sell, or hold. And you should never ever buy or sell anything based on anything that I say or write. Also, if you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, all that good stuff. You'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. You can also follow us over on X, formerly Twitter. The handle for that is @GroupPow. I'm going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. And if you go over to the community tab on the YouTube channel, scroll down, I'm giving away an annual membership to the Pow Group private community, which I'm going to bring up here in a moment to go over a conversation that we had in the group. And the details are on the community tab on how you can win that. I'll be giving it away on 420 in celebration of 420 itself, and Germany going legal and Florida on the ballot. So if you recall, if you've been following the channel, if you had your notification bell clicked, if you're subscribed, you probably already saw this. If you're a new subscriber, maybe you didn't, but it pays to kind of go back and look at some of these things, right? Because you get an idea of how people are feeling emotionally at any given time. And it wasn't that long ago. Like, this feels like forever ago. This was a year ago that I posted this video, Canopy Growth on the verge of bankruptcy. And this wasn't me. This was what the media was saying. I said FUD or fact. So fear, uncertainty, doubt, or fact. And then I did some technical analysis. This was June 28th, 2022. And there was a bunch of FUD going around that Canopy Growth was going bankrupt. Okay, Constellation Brands invests billions of dollars. The maker of Corona and a bunch of other beverage brands that we all love and drink all the time. But yet somehow retail investors are more smart and know more than what Constellation Brands knows, right? So the fact that they own Canopy tells you enough right there, right? It's probably not going to go anywhere unless they completely remove their stake, which they're not. They have the share vote was today on Canopy, whether or not voters and shareholders approve the exchangeable shares. So we should find out maybe on Monday or something like that. It's the weekend now. So it'll probably be Monday. We'll see some kind of press release about that on the results, but I assume it's going to get, approved. And they've already expressed their interest and their intent to convert those shares into exchangeable shares into Canopy USA. So all of this is by design. It's meant for you to think a certain way. And guess what? When everybody was saying it was bankruptcy and whatnot, Canopy Growth wasn't where it is now. It was at all-time lows, right? That's just the way it goes, right? They create FUD, max fear at the bottom, and max euphoria at the top. When it's at 52-week highs and all-time highs, it's, Canopy's going to $1,000 a share. Right? They try to get you to never sell whenever it's at a peak, and then they try to get you to never buy or never want to own it anymore at the bottom, right? It's the complete opposite. And then, if that wasn't enough, 9 months ago, I posted a video, could Canopy Growth go bankrupt? CGC price target downgrade of $0. Like, it's almost hard to fathom how much stupidity there is out there. And for anybody to fall for it, again, it's asinine. It's really hard to even fathom how people even fall for this. And then it's even worse on the people who are in the media and the people who are in the analysts or any kind of downgrades that are coming from these so quote unquote professionals that, they're playing on people's emotion like this. They're doing this for a reason. They know damn well what they're doing, and shame on them. They know what they're doing. They know that Canopy Growth wasn't going to zero. It was all a facade, right? It's just to make you feel some type of way. And they don't do this when it's at all-time highs or 52-week highs. They do it at 52-week lows and all-time lows, right? You need to see through this BS, right? It's so evident. And keep in mind, Canopy, their market cap right now is $0.74 billion. Once upon a time, back in 2019, when Canada legalized, we hit 17 billion US. So that means we're essentially a $20 billion company, right? Market capitalization. And right now, Tilray Brands is only 1.4 billion market cap. So again, we're at 712 here on Canopy. And I think, personally, right, that Tilray, again, not financial advice, but I do think that Tilray is going to be the top MJ company globally when it's all said and done, call it 5, 10, long term from now, 5, 10 years from now. And if Canopy hit $20 billion Canadian or $17 billion US in 2019, imagine what happens when the US legalizes. But not only just when the US legalizes, what about the rest of the EU? Germany coming online, right? Just medical this year. Eventually it's going to be for profit in the second pillar in a year or two. What happens when the rest of the EU follows? What happens when the United States follows and the rest of the world? Like, are you really starting to see this is not even halfway through the first inning, right? And we hit that on just Canadian federal legalization, right? And then here we had another massive run up in 2021 on the hopes of the U.S. legalizing, right? When the Dems took control of the Senate, just on the hopes of the U.S. legalizing, okay? So if Canopy can hit a $20 billion or $17 billion U.S. market cap on Canada legalization, imagine what would happen on the U.S., not on the hopes, but in the actual legalization of. And then what happens in 5 to 10 years once the industry actually matures, right? We're still a nascent industry. It's an emerging high growth industry. We have so much growth, right? Second pillar in Germany, you have store cap doubling in Ontario, edibles going from 10 to 100 milligrams in Canada. We have excise taxes switching to a percentage fee, which is going to add tens and tens of millions of dollars to these companies' bottom line mostly. And then you have Florida, Pennsylvania, rescheduling, safe banking, full-blown legalization in the US and around the world. Like, it's really hard to get words sometimes, because it's just like I see this so clearly, and then people are commenting on the videos and they just get so wrapped up in the here and now without really factoring in where we're going. And that's all about markets are. It's all about investing. It's all about forecasting where we are and where we're going. Where are we on the trajectory to the growth, the absolute critical mass, right? And we're nowhere near it. There's still some countries in the world that are offering the death penalty for simple possession of this amazing plant and medicine of the future. So that tells you everything you need to know right there. And then another conversation that we were having was based on the share count. Canopy is only going to see these shares because of the shares. So they don't have as many shares, so that it's going to see more percentage growth. Okay, let's take a look at the shares outstanding. They have 91 million, but what you're not factoring in mostly is that they already did a 1-for-10 reverse split. So if we go to, I'll bring that up in a moment. So they did this after the HHS recommendation when it ran almost 500%. So if we factor that in and we times it by 10, that's almost 1 billion shares, right? But the float is 73 million. So times that by 10, you're at 730 million shares. Okay. So if CGC's market cap was at 17 billion US and Tilray's at 1.4, well, what if Tilray goes to 17 billion? That is a lot of upside from here in terms of market cap and growth. What if it goes to 40 billion? What if it goes to 100 billion in 5 to 10 years from now and the US legalizes and it's the number one MJ company in the world? It might exceed 100 billion in 10 years, right? In a decade or two. It might be top 3, maybe like on it sure could hit, in my opinion, 20 billion. If Canopy can hit it in the US when Canada legalized, why can't Tilray hit 20 billion when the US legalizes? Why can't it hit 40 billion? It's the biggest economy in the world. Okay, let's take a look at the statistics for Tilray. So there's shares outstanding, 774 million. What's the float? 770. So Canopy float 73. So their float was 730 million before the split as well, right? Share price go up, shares go down. Regular stock split, share price go down, shares go up. Number of shares go up, right? So it was essentially the same amount of shares. And after the split, CGC ran more before the split than it did after the split, right? So this whole concept of, oh, it won't run as much because there's so many shares, that just doesn't make any sense, right? It's how many dollars are entering the market versus, it's all about supply and demand versus the amount of shares. So what I want to share as well is from the low of March 2020, Canopy went from the low here to the high and only went up 550%. Okay, let's look at Tilray during the March 2020 to the high of February 2021. That same March 2020 to February 2021 period, it went up 2,561%. So 25x, whereas CGC only went up 5.5x, right? Big difference, okay? Now we take a look at the drawdown from there. CGC went down 99.5%. What did Tilray go down? It went down 97%, okay? So now let's take a look at CGC when HHS came out with this recommendation. And keep in mind, the split didn't happen until December 20th, right? This was all in August 2021, right? Or sorry, this was, sorry, my bad. This was December 2023. It's getting a little late here on the West Coast. And this was in August of 2023. So just last year, right? And then we had that monster move up. CGC went 450% pre-split with 700 and some change million shares, right? And then after the split, and we've been seeing the momentum that we've been seeing with Florida on the ballot and whatnot, potential for rescheduling, safe banking, very possible. We only ran 323%. So where's the logic there, right? It doesn't matter. It's just how many dollars enter the market. And if you take a look at Tilray, the same time, right, on the HHS recommendation to the high there, went up 121%. But the thing is, the CGC was way more beaten down. And here's the thing you have to remember, is CGC's price is not 780. It's 78 cents, okay? So Tilray is still well above that. It's at $1.82, and the market cap shows that, right? We're sitting at 1.41 billion, and Canopy, in terms of market cap, sitting at 712 million. Okay, so market cap doesn't change. It's just an accounting trick. And this is why they create stock splits in the first place. Reverse splits, people forget. And regular stock splits, people think it's too expensive to buy, and now they can buy. Imagine when they did a split on Amazon. They didn't do a split on Amazon at the bottom. Of course not. They're not going to do it at all-time lows or 52-week lows. Why would they? They're going to do it when Amazon's at $2,000 a share. They do a 1 for 20 regular stock split. Oh, it's now $100 a share, right? Or whatever. And people are like, oh, I can now buy Amazon. It's only $100. But I didn't have $2,000 to buy a share, but now I can buy like 2 or 3 shares. And then the price cratered. That's exactly what happened, right? It's because they use you as exit liquidity at the top. And then reverse splits is just a way for, institutions and Wall Street crooks essentially to buy the bottom. If everybody's selling here retail, if everybody is thinking that bankruptcy is in the cards for Canopy and now bankruptcy is in the cards for Tilray, who's buying all these dips, right? It's obviously the institutions. Tilray in one day in March 2023 had $2.2 billion traded just on the NASDAQ alone, not factoring in other exchanges, just on the NASDAQ, okay? So who was buying all those shares, right? It's the institutions. And like I said, let me just bring up the chat here in the PAL Group private community. So I wanted to go to this thread here and just bring it up because this motivated me to do the video in the first place. So people were saying, Jeremy, shout out to Jeremy and Raj in the PAL Group private community, talked about would it be possible to see a squeeze like CGC on Tilray? And then Raj said it won't squeeze. And this isn't to signal anybody out or anything. I'm just showing the conversation here. And I said, it's a good thought process, right? And, I'm not knocking anybody or I'm just sharing our conversation. So I appreciate everybody's contribution. And really, at the end of the day, it makes total sense, right? You would think more shares, harder the price go up, right? More shares, harder for the price go up. Makes sense. But I said CGC had the similar amount of shares before the 1-for-10 reverse split. It ran almost 500% after the news of HHS on the same amount of shares as Tilray. The market cap used to be $20 billion for CGC, as I mentioned. Tilray will be the leader globally, if not top 3 in my opinion. So long term, $40 to $100 billion in 5, 10 plus years from now is very doable. So that would be a $53 or $133 Tilray price. If we see $40 billion or $100 billion market cap for Tilray, and CGC hit $20 billion in 2019 just on Canada going legal, if the US legalizes and Germany finishes legalization and the rest of the world, well, if Canopy can hit 20 billion, surely we can hit 40 billion on Tilray, right? So if that happened, Tilray price would be about $53 or $133 if no more dilution, right? If there wasn't any more shares. So I said CGC actually ran less after the split than with less shares than it did but if we do get the DEA approval of Schedule 3 or better, maybe it gets descheduled eventually, this could easily squeeze to $20. But I said Tilray, $5 to $10 USD is doable on the same type of DEA approval of Schedule 3 news, which is way more upside, right? And then Jeremy said, and which is a great point as well, and Raj made some great points as well. He said, what's the point of owning Tilray and CGC? What's the point of owning Tilray if CGC will run more? I said, I own both. I think Tilray is the clear leader long term, though, and it's like comparing Amazon to eBay, in my opinion. It wasn't a few months ago when everyone said Canopy was going bankrupt, and now it's Tilray. Just a bunch of emotions running wild is all it is. Also, CGC running to $20 from current prices is way less percentage move than Tilray going to $20 from here. And CGC price is technically only 78 cents factoring in the reverse split. This is why they create splits in the first place. Oh, how quickly people forget. Memory of a goldfish, right? And for the record, I told everyone months ago that there was no chance. Actually, it was years ago. So I just brought up the video of Canopy, bankruptcy video. And I said, no chance Canopy goes bankrupt, at least not anytime soon. And now I'm telling everybody now that Tilray isn't going anywhere either. And Jeremy said, good points. And I said, this motivated me to do a video because it's so true, right? It's like, it's just how people are feeling on any given type of day, like any given day, how is the market performing? How is the stock performing? If it's down and CGC's up, from $2 to $11 after factoring in a split, which it's still currently only 78 cents when you factor in the split, right? The reverse split. So hopefully this video is helpful and just goes to show you that, this is what the stock market is designed to do. It's to make you feel emotions and then to switch. It's to try to get you to buy CGC after a $2 move up to $11.57 to rotate your Tilray shares into CGC. And then guess what's going to happen? Tilray's going to move, right? Tilray's going to see a massive move. But again, if Tilray were to go to $20 from here, right? If we go to $20 from current prices, and who knows how long it's going to be? Maybe it's months, maybe it's years. I think it's closer to months than it is years. But if we go to $20 from here, that's a 10x. If CGC goes to $20 from here, that is, hang on. If we go to $20 on on CGC, that's only 160%. So 1.6x, right? So $1,000, it's not even any kind of life-changing wealth. If CGC goes back to all-time highs, then now we're talking, right? You're looking at 75x, $1,000 investment into $75,000. But if you invested $1,000 right now into Tilray, and it goes back to $20, $1,000 you invest now at current prices, and it goes to $20, it'll be worth $10,000 for every $1,000 you invest, right? Whereas CGC, nowhere near that. So hopefully this video is helpful, and hopefully now when you see analysts downgrading saying $0 and it's Canopy Growth with Constellation Brands behind it, Canopy USA in the works, all these catalysts that are ahead, and anytime someone downgrades something to $0 and we're near all-time lows and the sector's down 80-90% plus, disregard it. Unless it's like BZAM or Fire and Flower, or some really troubling companies, then so be it. But if you actually look under the hood in Canopy and Tilray, there's no chance in hell they're going bankrupt anytime soon. And if they did, it would be years out. They have way too many assets, right? Look at BioSteel for Canopy and Stores and Bickle and, all their stores and their cultivation facilities and their brands and their partnerships. You look at Tilray, like they just bought 8 beverage brands from Anheuser-Busch, the maker of Budweiser. They just spent, I don't think they disclose how much they spent on that, but they could easily sell like Shock Top, Alpine, all these Breckenridge and Sweetwater Brewing Co. Like there's so many just brands just from an alcohol perspective and beverage perspective. Then they have Truss, right, that they bought from Molson Coors, the MJ beverages. Then they have their Broken Coast and all their Hexo, Redican. Like there's no chance in hell any of these two companies are going anywhere anytime soon. Maybe they kick the can down the road, they bite the bullet, and they go by the wayside, go the way of the dodo, so to speak. But I'm not buying it. I own both in my portfolio, Tilray being my biggest position. But I hope this video was helpful. And if it was, smash a like, share it with anybody that might find it helpful as well. And let me know your thoughts and comments on this in the comment section, because I want to continue the conversation there, see what everybody else has to say. Because I just continue to see it time and time again now on my live streams and on my videos that, oh, Tilray's the next one going bankrupt. It's just like the flavor of the week. Whichever one is low and whichever one has the least amount of gains, everybody just throws around the B word like it's nothing. And what you have to remember is some people in this industry don't have the wherewithal. They don't have the experience. They don't have the emotional capacity to be dealing with these very important words. Like you shouldn't just throw around the B word nonchalantly, like so carelessly, right? There's some people who don't have a lot of experience. And if you're somebody who's throwing that around, that tells me you may not have a whole lot of experience either, and that you're speaking out of emotions. And that tells me more about yourself than it does anything else, because you have a lot of work to do. And one thing I pride myself on in this channel is I tell people what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. I could care less if people follow me, if people get upset with things that I say, because you know why? I come from a place of genuine care, and I want you to be the best you that you can be. And I want you to succeed, and I don't want these Wall Street crooks, for lack of a better word, to get the best of you every single time. It's rinse and repeat. It truly is the way the market is. It's designed to make you feel a type of way. It's designed to make you be impatient, frustrated, angry by times, and question your overall thesis, right? And the stock market is a mechanism from transferring wealth from the impatient to the patient. And right now, I see a ton of impatient people, frustrated people, emotional people. So don't let the market makers win. Let's fight back, right? Let's use this. Change your mindset. This is only going to happen once. At the federal level in the U.S. and around the world, we'll only see this amazing plant and medicine of the future legalized once. So consider yourself lucky you're even on this earth. The chances that you were even born are like astronomically high. And then the fact that you're even here during this time, this monumental time where we're legalizing this amazing plant medicine of the future, and you're here for it, right? Imagine if you're only 5 years old and you couldn't invest, right? So consider yourself lucky, count your blessings. I love each and every one of you. Thank you again for joining me on the Pursuit of Wealth. It's Rod with Power Group. We'll see you again on the next video.